Welcome to Minghui Radio's Falun Gong News, direct from China and around the world. Topics include news about the persecution of Falun Gong in China, local events, and special items of interest. Now for this week's stories.
Australia. Shenyang New Era Company arrived in Queensland on February 22nd to kick off the third stop of its 2026 Asia-Pacific tour at the Gold Coast Arts Centre. One day before the performances were scheduled to begin, local Shenyang organizers in Australia received 2 threatening emails in Chinese demanding the performances be cancelled. One email claimed that explosives had been placed around the official residence of Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and that they would be detonated if the Shenyang performances were not cancelled. The Australian Federal Police conducted a thorough search of the Prime Minister's residence and discovered no such threat. This incident garnered widespread coverage from major Australian media outlets. The latest threatening emails were preceded by a statement released on the official website of the Chinese consulates in Sydney and Melbourne earlier this year. Senator Ralph Babbitt and One Nation federal member of Parliament Barnaby Joyce firmly stated that such intimidation efforts were totally inappropriate and unacceptable in Australia.
Denmark. Practitioners from Denmark and neighboring countries held a rally in front of Copenhagen's Chinese embassy on February 16th to protest the Chinese embassy's intimidation efforts targeting Shenyang Performing Arts and Falun Gong in Denmark. On January 8th, the Chinese embassy published a malicious statement defaming Shenyang and Falun Gong in both English and Chinese on its website. The statement attempted to discourage people from attending upcoming shows at the Royal Arena from March 30th to April 2nd. On February 10th, the hosting organization in Denmark received an anonymous intimidation letter. The subject line of the letter reads, "If Shenyang performances are held, the Danish Prime Minister's life will be in danger." The letter threatened the lives of the Prime Minister and all high-level Danish officials in an attempt to force the organizers to cancel the performances. The organizers reported the incident to the Danish police. Several Danish officials condemned the CCP's intimidation as unacceptable and pointed to consequences. The practitioners called on the public to help end the CCP's transnational repression and persecution.
India. Mount Carmel College in the city of Bangalore presented their iconic annual Ka'a Festival on February 13th and 14th. Often nicknamed the Queen of Fest, it brought the campus alive with vibrant competitions, along with the presence of celebrity guest Ramesh Arvind. Falun Dafa practitioners set up an information booth, introducing the spiritual practice to students and faculty attending the festival, continuing a long-standing tradition. This year, special emphasis was placed on a petition started by Doctors Against Forced Organ Harvesting, which urges the G7+7 nations to take action against China's forced organ harvesting and torture of Falun Dafa practitioners. The organization's representative, Dr. Verbin, said that the petition initiative was not a protest or political action, but an educational effort grounded in ethical reflection and compassion. Many students appeared visibly moved by the information presented. A few expressed interest in interning with the Doctors Against Forced Organ Harvesting team, and a journalism professor inquired whether her students could write about the issue. The campus initiative aimed to raise awareness of this crime among students, encourage informed civic engagement, and foster thoughtful dialogue.
Ireland. People learned about Falun Gong at an event in Dublin city centre on February 21st. Practitioners introduced the practice to both tourists and local residents. They also exposed how the CCP persecutes the spiritual discipline. Passers-by stopped to watch practitioners do the exercises, and many signed a petition that calls to end the persecution. Eddie and his friend were shopping when they noticed the practitioner's activity. He recalled reading about Falun Gong on social media and shared, "I like meditating. The first thing I do every morning is meditate for 20 minutes. The pace of life is fast and technology is advancing rapidly. It's dazzling and difficult to calm down and reflect on one's inner self. The benefits of meditation are undeniable." After he signed the petition, Eddie asked if he could take some photos so he could let more people know that practitioners in China are tortured and subjected to forced organ harvesting.
South Korea. Shenyun Performing Arts arrived in South Korea on February 9th to launch the second stop of the company's Asia tour. Local fans gathered early at the Incheon International Airport to welcome the artist. They proudly displayed a banner that said, "Welcome to Korea, Shenyun Performing Arts." Shenyun New Era Company kicked off the Korean tour at the Dream Theater in the city of Busan on the evening of February 14th. New Era was one of the 8 touring companies that presented a total of 32 performances in 6 countries that week. The company's 4th and last 2026 performance in South Korea was sold out and took place at the Susong Artpia Grand Hall in the city of Daegu on February 20th.
The United Kingdom, as part of its 2026 worldwide tour, Shenyun Performing Arts will present 52 shows in the UK. The artists performed to full houses during the more than 40 shows they've already presented and were greeted with warm applause. Many audience members praised Shenyun's artistic level and profound culture, and some said they plan to see the show again next year. Many elected officials attended a Shenyun performance and heaped high praise and honors on the company. On February 18th, the Lord Mayor of Stoke-on-Trent, Steve Watkins, presented Shenyun a special Lord Mayor's Recognition Certificate to honor the company's outstanding contribution to the city's cultural life. The British Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office and the Home Office issued statements condemning the Chinese Communist Party's intimidation of Shenyun Performing Arts and the venues in which the companies perform. Several members of parliament voiced their concern. They wrote that the UK government pays attention to such issues of transnational repression, and this intimidation of Shenyun is a threat to the UK's national security and sovereignty.
India. The 49th International Kolkata Book Fair took place from January 22nd to February 3rd. The event is the world's largest non-trade book fair and Asia's largest book fair. This year, a record-breaking 3.5 million visitors attended. The fair also hosted a wide variety of book-related cultural programs, such as literary discussions, book launches, and performances to celebrate Kolkata's vibrant literary heritage. Falun Dafa practitioners participated in the event. Their booth, one of 1,100 at the fair, was located near a high-traffic area. People learned the exercises from the instructional video and practitioners, who also explained the history of the practice and told people about the CCP's persecution. Many teachers and students visited the book fair. A school headmaster, Abhishek Roy, said he wanted his students to learn the exercises and asked practitioners to teach them. He bought copies of Zhuan Falun, the main text of the practice, as well as the book Falun Gong. Many people purchased copies of the books. 105 people registered for the Falun Dafa webinars during the book fair. The first Sunday after the fair, around 70 people attended the webinar.
The following are selected cases of persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China. While serving a 5-year term for practicing Falun Gong, 56-year-old Miss Zhang Yongqing's leg was broken while she was tortured last year. She was also diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer. She was extremely weak, emaciated, and had mobility issues. Instead of notifying her family immediately, the prison authorities waited until she was on the verge of death before they released her on parole in November. Miss Zhang had a high fever when she returned home, and she was rushed to the hospital for treatment. After she returned home, she was constantly harassed by the local authorities who attempted to make her renounce Falun Gong. Miss Zhang's condition suddenly worsened one morning of late January. Her family called an ambulance, but she died while she was being transported to the hospital. Miss Zhang's passing capped decades of persecution for upholding her faith. She had been arrested multiple times and was previously sentenced to 3 years in prison.
A woman in Zhouyang City, Yinxi Province, passed away on February 3, 2026, after enduring decades of persecution for her faith in Falun Gong. She was 79 years old. Ms. Wang Shifan, a retired accountant, took up Falun Gong in 1996. Together with her husband, Mr. Liu Jianjing, they soon experienced health and moral improvement. After the Chinese Communist Party ordered the persecution in 1999, the couple were repeatedly targeted for upholding their faith. Mr. Liu was arrested at least 7 times, and his pension was suspended during the early 2000s. He died in 2016 at the age of 71. While mourning her husband's death, Ms. Wang faced continued harassment. Her home was raided several times, and she was terrified. Ms. Wang served combined sentences of 4.5 years in a forced labor camp, where the guards laced her food with unknown drugs. She experienced frequent dizziness, headaches, and difficulty moving. These symptoms persisted until her death.
A 66-year-old man in Heilongjiang Province is appealing a 5-year prison sentence for practicing Falun Gong. Mr. Shen Jingxiang was arrested during a police sweep last July and was sentenced to a 5-year prison term. Prior to his latest sentencing, Mr. Shen served 2 prison sentences and a forced labor term totaling 11 years. His first prison term was in 2001, where he was tortured by inmates and was forced, with 30 other practitioners, to work in a coal mine for 14 to 20 hours each day. He wasn't given enough food and was often beaten by the guards. Due to a lack of safety protocols, the mine collapsed and a boulder landed on Mr. Shin and broke his right ankle. His second prison term came in 2008 when the police were searching for an arsonist. The arsonist reported Mr. Shin for being a Falun Gong practitioner. Rather than investigating the arson, the police released the criminal and changed the case to someone reported Mr. Shin for distributing Falun Gong materials on the bus.
While 65-year-old Ms. Shai Shifang of Boji City is serving a 5-year term for practicing Falun Gong, the authorities ordered her family to pay back the 650,000 yuan pension she received over the past 10 years and threatened to auction off her home if they didn't comply. Ms. Shai was arrested in 2024 during a police sweep of local Falun Gong practitioners. Her son tried to stop the police from ransacking their home, only to be handcuffed and taken to the police station. He was released the next morning. Ms. Chai's husband, who became incapacitated after a stroke, relied on her for care. The police, however, kept her detained. She was sentenced to 5 years. This is the second time that Ms. Shai has been sentenced to prison for practicing Falun Gong. She was arrested in 2012 and tortured on a device known as a tiger bench while in police custody before going to prison. She was released in 2016.
Falun Dafa praised during Chinese New Year parade in the U.S. The largest Chinese New Year parade in the region took place on February 21st in Flushing, an area of Queens, New York, with a major Chinese community. Falun Dafa practitioners participated in the parade, as they have for more than 20 years. This year, their entry included the Tianguo Marching Band, Dragon Dance, Lion Dance, Flag Section, Ferries, and Float. The practitioners were applauded throughout the parade route, and many people said they were impressed by their positive energy. Parade spectator Mr. Ge said, "They are nice people and they represent true Chinese culture. From them, we see hope for our country and our people." Another spectator, a New York City nurse originally from Nepal named Ashita Sabuda, saw the words truthfulness, compassion, forbearance on the banner and said she believed these principles applied to everyone. She added that she would like to know more about Falun Dafa. Practitioners who participated in the parade shared thoughts concerning the value of the event. A young practitioner named Cynthia talked about beginning her practice of Falun Dafa with her parents as a child. After she graduated from college with a major in international relations, she began working as a researcher at the Falun Dafa Information Center. She compiles data documenting cases of the CCP's persecution of the practice and provides reports and policy recommendations to U.S. government departments. With respect to why it's important for practitioners to participate in the parade, she said, "People from China can see the possibility of freedom of expression and embracing culture without the influence of a political party." As a researcher who has spent years studying issues related to Falun Gong, she said she's observed a clear shift in how the practice is viewed. More people are actively seeking spiritual direction, and Falun Gong's teachings are increasingly resonating with those who search for moral clarity. Her impressions were reinforced at a recent religious freedom conference in Washington, D.C. The persecution of Falun Gong in China was a major topic, and she noticed a growing curiosity about the practice. She explained, "Many attendees weren't just concerned about the persecution, they wanted to know how to learn Falun Gong, how to read its books." There was a genuine interest in personal cultivation and inner spirituality. Mr. Shen said he was persecuted for years in China. He was deeply moved to be able to be in the parade. He said, "In this free land, I no longer have to fear being arrested for my belief. I feel incredibly fortunate and proud. Seeing so many Falun Dafa practitioners gathered together, this is something I would never have dared to imagine when I was still in China." He noticed that, in recent years, the attitudes of the Chinese people toward Falun Dafa have changed. He explained, "When the persecution first started, many were misled by the party propaganda and were hostile towards Falun Dafa. People are now increasingly sympathetic, especially after the COVID pandemic. Many social media platforms in China mention the disappearance of children, and people have started to realize the CCP's forced organ harvesting is true, and they're afraid. Now, when I talk to people about Falun Dafa, they give me thumbs up and say, 'We know about Falun Dafa.' They thank me. This was unimaginable before."
Voice of America airs in-depth report on CCP organ harvesting, U.S. to launch platform aiming to bypass internet censorship. The multimedia news organization, Voice of America, interviewed the senior editor of the Epoch Times and host of American Thought Leaders show, Jan Jekielek, on February 16th. Mr. Jekielek is the author of the book Kill to Order, China's Organ Harvesting Industry and the True Nature of America's Biggest Adversary. It summarizes nearly 2 decades of in-depth investigations by researchers into forced organ harvesting by the CCP and is scheduled for release in March of this year. The author states that Falun Gong practitioners are the principal source of organ harvesting by the CCP, a group that the regime has targeted for persecution since 1999. Early in the persecution, the CCP began to conduct blood tests on Falun Gong practitioners, as well as tissue matching and organ scans, before the forced organ harvesting crimes were exposed in 2006. Online advertisements promoting transplant tourism claimed that one could get a new heart in China for US dollars 150,000 to 200,000. He expressed concern not only for Falun Dafa practitioners, and the presently persecuted Uyghurs, but also for Tibetans and Christians, which include recently arrested leaders in the Zion Church. Ian feels that they will be added in significant numbers to the kill-to-order crimes. Information such as this will soon be obtainable in any part of the world. According to U.S. media reports, the U.S. State Department will launch a new website called freedom.gov in February. The website aims to combat internet censorship in countries like China and Iran, assisting people worldwide, and particularly in countries with strict internet surveillance, to access an uncensored internet environment. The project is part of U.S. foreign policy's commitment to upholding freedom of speech and protecting and promoting fundamental freedoms. According to Fox News, the freedom.gov website will operate as a one-click desktop and mobile application compatible with iOS and Android devices. To ensure privacy and security, the app is open source and includes built-in anonymity protections. The application does not log IP addresses, session data, browsing activity, DNS queries, and device identifiers that could be used to personally identify users. According to the media outlet Cybernews, officials are considering adding built-in VPN functionality that would make internet traffic appear to originate from the U.S. The initiative is being led by Sarah Rogers, the U.S. Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy. Ms. Rogers said, Freedom.gov is the latest in a long line of efforts by the State Department to protect and promote fundamental freedoms, both online and offline.
Shen Yun performs on 3 continents during Chinese New Year. Shen Yun's 8 touring companies presented 39 performances in 13 cities in the United States, France, Italy, South Korea, Switzerland, and the UK during the Chinese New Year week of February 17th. Dignitaries around the world praised Shen Yun and issued numerous messages of welcome and congratulations to the performing arts company. In the U.S. state of Texas, city of McAllen, Mayor Javier Villalobos honored Shen Yun artists with a proclamation at the McAllen Performing Arts Center on February 21st. Also in the U.S., Orange County District Attorney David Hoovler issued a letter of recognition to Shen Yun Performing Arts on February 18th. He also congratulated Shen Yun in a video greeting commemorating the Chinese New Year and said, "Welcome to the year of the fire horse, and this year it's the 20th anniversary of Shen Yun Productions. I'm so thankful that they are located here in Orange County, New York, and I'm so thankful for Mr. D.F. for all the things he's done for Shen Yun." Italian Senator Sergio Rastarelli praised Shen Yun in Avellino on February 20th. This was the 3rd time he had seen them perform. He said, "I'm already a loyal fan of Shen Yun. This is a gorgeous, outstanding, and exhilarating performance. It is an extraordinary display of ancient Chinese culture. It is a culture and spiritual heritage that should not be lost." In South Korea, Suk Dien-duk, honorary professor of fine arts at Masan University, saw Shen Yun in Daegu on February 20th and was deeply moved. He shared, "The performers in the backdrop worked in perfect harmony, giving me a complete sense of immersion. It felt like I was embracing a celestial dream. Experiencing the heavenly realm brings genuine joy." He added, "I've seen many performances, yet none could compare to Shen Yun." Soprano and vocal teacher Ellie Shehua Dreyfus saw Shen Yun in Lausanne, Switzerland on February 22nd. She said, "Shen Yun is the integration of perfection, mind, and divinity. It is a masterpiece on earth that displays peace." Miss Dreyfus continued, "In the world today, most people are asleep and believe that redemption is far from possible. But Shen Yun tells people that even when people are experiencing the most pain, if they can connect their own divinity with higher dimensions, divine beings are right there." Philanthropist and member of a Romanian noble family, François Sturza, saw Shen Yun in Lausanne on February 21st. She said, This performing arts company shoulders a kind of mission. It's exactly because of this mission that it has poured soul into the entire performance. That's why this performance is so unique. She added, "We need a kind of strength, a moral strength, a strength from the soul."
Thank you for listening to the Minghui Radio Podcast. For more information, including news about the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China and experience sharing stories by practitioners around the world, please visit our website at en.minghui.org.